Here's how I save £500 each month. I actually save about £700 to £900 a month with these steps, but when I started 8 years ago, I noticed that I instantly saved £500 a month. The first form of saving your money is learning how to budget. It wasn't until I read a few books that I realised how inefficiently I was managing my wages. I have since become adept at saving money, and I'm going to share with you the 5 steps that have turned me into a complete piggy bank. Step 1. Create a list of your spending habits. This is probably what you already expected, but it's not until we see our financial picture on paper that we can fully appreciate our fiscal situation. The truth can be frightening, but should we avoid it for that reason? I don't think so. Avoidance has rarely been a great tactic in solving any problem, so make a list of all your spending habits by writing them on a piece of paper, or as I do, put them on a spreadsheet. It's time to add a value to each bill. Start with the mandatory bills payable monthly, things like rent, mortgage, utility bills. If a utility bill is payable quarterly, for example every 3 months, and it's £100, divide it by 3 and round it up. So if £100 divided by 3 is £33.34, round that up to £34. Next, write down the amounts for the things that you purchase daily. Try to estimate the rest of the items on your list. Things like food, clothes, self-care. You'll subconsciously learn to respect your money in smaller amounts, which really is the key to mastering budgeting in the long term. The final part of step 1 is to calculate what you are currently saving. So write down your monthly salary at the top and deduct all your expenses from it. Step 2. Separate your expenses into one of these 3 categories: low opportunity, moderate opportunity, and high opportunity. In the low opportunity section, put in your fixed expenses, things like rent, mortgage, and insurance. In the moderate opportunity section, put in your adjustable expenses. These are expenses that are still charged monthly, but vary a little bit. Things like utility bills, mobile phone bills. Well, I suppose mortgage can vary, but let's keep that in the first section. In the high opportunity section, put in everything else. You can now see the level of control you have on each expense. Add up these expenses and write down the total in each category. Now, it's time to reduce your bills. Ask yourself, are there any areas where I could save money? I saved money on my home and pet insurance using a comparison website called moneysupermarket.com. I used confused.com to get a cheaper car insurance. I saved on my mobile phone contract by looking at a comparison website called Uswitch. I called Sky to get a better TV and broadband package. I often take advantage of any perks that my company has to offer. I used to buy coffee every morning, Monday to Friday, which ended up costing about £25 a week. Approximately that's about £1,150 a year. I now make my own coffee, which is not only much better in quality, but now only costs £16 a month on a subscription service, or £192 a year. My point is, look for any way you could potentially save money. If you're watching this because you're in debt, don't feel afraid or ashamed. Try to sort out a debt management plan that you could comfortably afford to pay off as soon as possible. Getting rid of your debt needs to be your first priority, even over saving, but the amount you repay needs to be manageable. So set up a plan with your creditor and sort this out ASAP. Congratulations if you took the time to follow all the steps so far, because it will help you reduce costs. Personally, I really benefited from separating the expenses because it allowed me to see which expenses I actually did have control over. However, I wanted a better strategy. You are now good at identifying where you can save money, but if you follow the next 2 steps, you'll become a budgeting expert. Steps 4 and 5 are what elevated control over my finances. Step 4. It's time to open some current accounts. Now, you probably already have one account. You're going to need to open up 2 more current accounts, probably within the same bank for free and easy transfers. The first current account will be where your wages land. We'll refer to this account as the deposit account. The second account is the bills account. All the low opportunity expenses and moderate opportunity expenses will be taken from this account. The third account will be your emergency account. This is where you'll keep your money for a rainy day. Great, so you've got 3 accounts. Well, it's time to add one more. You will need a long-term savings account that is not easily accessible. Perhaps a limited savers access account where you can only withdraw a few times in the year. I personally have mine in a fixed deposit offshore, but I also have money invested abroad, so I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you have some business or some financial assets abroad. The idea of 4 bank accounts may seem excessive to someone who hasn't thought about it, but I assure you, it is the most efficient way to control your finances. You'll find the concept of managing multiple accounts in many personal financial planning books. Once you have these accounts, it's time to automate your payments. Have your deposit account pay into your bill account to cover all the low opportunity and moderate opportunity expenses, and then decide how much you'd like to put into your emergency account and your long-term savings account. Remember, whatever goes into your long-term saving account is essentially you paying yourself. Now that you have separated and reduced your expenses and automated your bank accounts, you must maintain a watchful eye over your finances. An efficient way to do this is to create what we refer to as a budget planner. So this is from 7 years ago. As you can see, I have my monthly salary after tax. I didn't have any additional income at that time. The expenses are separated by which account they are associated with. Notice that on the first day of each month, £1,660 was automatically sent from my deposit account to my bills account. Now, to level up my budgeting game, I wanted to be in a position where the bills account had enough in it to look after itself for a few months, in case I ever lost my job. This is where the extra savings comes in, and while I transferred £1,660 to my bills account each month, I also aimed to transfer £100 to go towards this type of saving. It took about 3 to 4 years, but it has put me in a very comfortable position to deal with the worst case scenario. You can also see that overall I spent £26 less than what I anticipated. From this surplus of £26, I sent £10 to my savings account, £10 towards my extra savings, and £6 to my emergency account. So that's a total of £510 saved in my monthly salary. When I first created my budgeting plan, my discrepancy was all over the place, but as time went on, my estimation for the high opportunity expenses became more accurate. Although, I always seem to mess up in December. We need a purpose to propel us forward, and I hope this video at least made you aware of how important it is to be in control of your finances. Thank you for watching.